Hello, this is Dave from Net4 Truth USA, Whirlwind Revolt. It is April 23rd, 2019. I hope everybody had a very happy Easter and a great weekend. And I've had a few phone calls lately trying to outline the ultimate scenario, the pièce de résistance that looks like it is going to come to pass in the next few weeks. We know this government corruption goes back to at least John F. Kennedy, when the coup d'etat that failed in 1933 because of an unsung American hero by the name of Smedley Butler, who single-handedly foiled a corporate takeover of the U.S. government, and that is outlined in a book, The Plot to Seize the White House by Jules Archer. There's a link in the description where you can get that book from Amazon. The coup d'etat that failed in 1933 succeeded with the assassination of John Fitzgerald Kennedy on November 22nd, 1963. And since then, the American people have not elected a president. They were all handpicked from the annals of Skull and Bones, from the membership of Skull and Bones, practically all of them. And a 12-year-old girl in grammar school, in a segue to her own research for her own family genealogy, found that all the presidents since the beginning of this republic are all related. You make of that as you will. I know there is 6 degrees of separation and all of that, but what this little girl found, I'm surprised she is not in witness protection somewhere. Be that as it may, and circumstantial evidence notwithstanding, we know that the assassination of John F. Kennedy was covered up by the mainstream media, and Arlen Specter, who invented the magic bullet theory, was also in charge of the VA a number of years ago, maybe 12 years ago. And my good friend Arthur Bernklau of Veterans for Constitutional Law, whose website I run, he's passed away a number of years, 6 years ago. I still run his website at Victor Foxtrot Charlie Lima.com. Mr. Bernklau uncovered the VA farce that was called Gulf War Syndrome, that was said to be all in your head and turned out to be radiation poisoning from depleted uranium bullets. Went down and did the research, found that the VA hired 800 lawyers to keep this from being exposed and to keep veterans from getting their benefits when they came back wounded and came back sick from this depleted uranium ammunition they were shooting, turning Afghanistan and the Middle East into uninhabitable netherworlds. War crimes that were committed by the past 3 administrations covered up. Mr. Bernklau had the evidence, and he came back and he started sending Arlen Specter boxes of dog shit every week by UPS. You can read the story on VFCLL.com, hoping that they would drag him into court, where his lawyer would ask him, Mr. Bernklau, why did you send Senator Arlen Specter boxes of dog shit every week by UPS? And when they opened that door, he would present the evidence. And he never got his day in court. But I was privileged to have that man as my friend from 2004 until the day he died. He was a Marine sniper. 13 years in Vietnam. Went in with the advisors and came out with the helicopters that took off of the roof of the embassy building in Saigon when it got overrun. 200 confirmed kills, all headshots. You never heard of the man. He was working for Operation Phoenix out of MACV Saigon, and he never was lauded for his service to the country. I went over to his house one day. We used to go to the rifle range out in Long Island. And I walked into his house, and he was in the living room with a box of 223 NATOs and a can of Noxon and a rag, and he's polishing the bullets. And I asked him, "What are you doing, Art? What the hell are you doing?" He says, "I'm polishing my bullets. What does it look like I'm doing?" I asked him, "Why are you polishing your bullets for?" He says, "It cuts down on the spin drift." He's the only man I know who could put 3 bullets in the same hole at 100 yards with an AR-15. Anyway, to get off that segue, the elections in this country since John F. Kennedy have all been smoke, mirrors, and Hollywood with the full complicity of the mainstream media. We have not elected a president since John F. Kennedy, with the exception of Donald Trump. We certainly didn't elect Barack Obama, who was a deep state Manchurian candidate, and that is a fact. Wasn't even a U.S. citizen. That's a fact. And if the Hildebeest were to have gained the presidency, we would have never seen the evidence of all the crimes that have been committed since John F. Kennedy was assassinated. We never would have seen it. But now the tables are turned because certain people in the military knew what would happen if Hillary got in. Her lies were exposed. Her tampering with the software on the voting machines that Soros owns was reversed. She couldn't believe that she didn't win because the election was rigged. Between the tampering with the voting machines and the illegals and dead people voting and voting multiple times, there was no way that she could have lost. And that's why she's so pissed. And that's why she's so vitriolic in her attacks, because she has no choice. She's backed into a corner along with all her cronies, and there is no escape. There is no escape. We know that Donald Trump has been a friend of the Kennedys for a long, long time. I have my own personal beliefs and my own dream scenarios that I would like to see in the next few months to take this cabal of criminals and communists and put them where they belong, in 6x9 cells at Gitmo with no human contact. Because every human being they even look at becomes contaminated with their disease. I believe that Seth Rich is still alive. Why do I believe that? because forensic analysis of the files that were sent to WikiLeaks proved beyond any doubt whatsoever that they were transmitted or copied at a speed that is impossible for them to have been hacked. The internet speed is recorded in the file's metadata. Every time you copy a file, the data that you don't see is embedded in the file. If you have the tools to see it, you can see it. It tells you how many bytes were in the file. It gives you the checksum number. And it gives you the day and the time from the system that it was copied from and the speed at which it was copied. So that is a forensic fact that cannot be disputed. And if you remember, back during the 2016 election, we have one of Hillary's people on Reddit asking the Reddit community, how do I change an email, a very important person's email, in an Outlook data file? For those of you who have never used Microsoft Outlook, the program stores all the emails in a single file. That single file is indexed and it's checksummed, and there is no way you can change anything in that file with a text editor or with any other kind of editor and have those checksums and parities match. So when the program loads and it goes to load the email file, that checksum, even if you change a space, if you change one letter in that whole file, which could be 1 million emails, if you change one space in it, that checksum will not compute. And Microsoft Outlook will then ignore that file and go to load a backup of the file, because it makes backups every time you load it. It makes a backup of the old file. That's why the Reddit community said that is impossible. That's why she had to bleach bit those 33,000 emails and smash her BlackBerries. But what she couldn't erase were the copies of all those emails on all the devices that she sent those emails to, and the intermediate proxy servers between her server or her device and the intended recipient, including the embassy in Benghazi, which, by the way, even though the SEAL teams were ordered to stand down, one of those SEAL teams went in, got there too late to save the people from being murdered, but they did recover the server. And you remember Imran Awan, who was the IT specialist that Hillary hired to maintain all the DNC servers. Well, he was no dummy either. Just like the Peter tweeter had an insurance file, he had his insurance file. Internet servers work on a system called RAID. That's their disk system. RAID stands for Redundant Array of Independent Drives. You can have any number of disk drives, and what happens is the data is spread out mathematically between as many drives as you have. Let's say, for example, you have 6 hard drives on a server. This is practically 100% foolproof against a crash or a data corruption. If you were to walk up to that server while people were using it and pull one of those drives out of the RAID array, the people who are using that server will not notice anything. The system administrator might get a pop-up message on his screen that one of the drives has failed. What happens is the mathematical algorithm rebuilds the data that was on the removed drive onto the remaining 5 drives. And this is completely transparent to the people who are using it. They don't see it glitch. They don't see it slow down. They don't see anything. Imran Awan was maintaining the server. Every piece of computer hardware, and I know this because I worked for IBM for 25 years. I'm Microsoft certified. I was a check processing specialist for the Eastern region for 10 years. So I know from whence I speak. Imran Awan went in as a maintenance man, and he used mean time between failures. That's a specification for every disk drive. Every component on a computer system is rated with a mean time between failure rating. That says, in X amount of hours, we expect this component to fail. So, say for example, a disk drive has a 10,000 hour mean time between failure rating. That means it can run 10,000 hours continuously before a failure, a catastrophic failure, is anticipated. So what the maintenance person does is he goes in there and he replaces these mechanical components before their anticipated fail date. So he goes in one day and takes disk drive number 1 out, which has data on it, puts it in his bag, and puts a brand new drive in. Then he goes home, has dinner, goes to sleep. And when he wakes up the next morning, the data that was on the drive he removed has been rebuilt onto the new drive that he put in. Then he repeats the process with just drive number 2, and number 3, and number 4, and number 5, and number 6. By the end of the week, he has all the drives on the server. He doesn't have the computer, but he has the disk drives with the data on it. And that's why Q, a year ago, said, quote, "We have the server," end quote. We don't have the machine because they refused to let the FBI have it. And how can you refuse to let the FBI have anything is beyond me, but they never gave it to him as far as I know. But Imran Awan had as many disk drives as was on that server, and all he had to do was plug those disk drives into a new computer, and he would have a mirror image of that server with all the emails and everything that went on over that server. And the server that was recovered by the SEAL team over in Benghazi also has a copy of all the emails that went back and forth between the Hildebeest and the embassy in Benghazi. Nothing that's sent out over the internet ever gets erased. And I can prove that to you. I did another video on it. I don't know if anybody's seen it because I might have got erased. But if you Google Phaser Dome Key Punch software, you will see my name in a game that I wrote in 1987 with a good friend of mine, Bobby Germino. You'll see my name there before the internet was even available to the public. Okay. Let me get off of that. Seth Rich provided those emails to Julian Assange. We know this. Julian Assange kind of hinted at it, and Kim.com came right out and said it. I believe that they attempted to kill Seth Rich for doing that to them, because that is the trigger that is slowly being pulled that will take down the whole cabal. And make no mistake about this, these are Nazis that are running the Democratic Party. They are communist Nazis, there's a new breed of Nazi. and they say they're anti-fascist when they are, in fact, the fascists. They are the ones who are censoring free speech on the internet. They are the ones who are making up stories about people getting killed over in the land of the Joeys and the Roos and banning videos, which is the reason why my last channel was taken down, because I tried to upload that fake video, and now I have it on my Dropbox. And you can find it on BitChute under net number 4 Truth USA channel on BitChute. So hey, you took my channel down. Hey, you owe me $4,700, but you didn't stop the video from being distributed. You're going down, the whole freaking lot of you. I believe that Seth Rich is still alive because the attending physician in the ER said that he saw worse wounds than what he had. They were through and throughs with a small caliber, and they were survivable. When he coded, no cart was called. He was pronounced dead and taken out. No autopsy was done, as far as I know, and nobody is releasing any information. Seems very suspicious to me. I think Seth Rich is in witness protection awaiting the takedown when he and Julian Assange and Kim.com will testify and tell all they know and provide forensically verifiable, undisputable evidence that these people attempted a coup d'etat against the President of the United States, an offense which is punishable by death because it is treason and sedition and nothing less, not counting all the crimes that they have committed against children. 800,000 children in this country disappear every year like a fart in the wind, and there is not a word said by the mainstream media. And the people in Hollywood who are screaming the loudest, the people who know jack shit about politics and offer blowjobs to people who would vote for Hillary Clinton, those people are the worst offenders. I knew about child trafficking 30 years ago. I reported a suspected case to the FBI, and I got blown off. And when I pursued it with my own lawyer, I got Kavanaugh'd for real. So my mission is, I want, before I shuffle off this mortal coil, I want to see justice done in this country. I want to see these people and their progeny eradicated from the face of the earth. They are the ones who commit war crimes, deal in drugs, and kill more people in 1 year than we've lost in all the wars since World War I. These people are demon-possessed. Make no mistake about this. You might not believe in demons or ghosts or even believe in God. But I'm here to tell you that demons do exist. And they believe it. And they're calling those demons up out of the pit of hell. You can believe what you want, but your belief or non-belief does not change the facts. And if this scenario that I just outlined to you happens, there will be no way that Donald Trump will not win the 2020 election in a bigger landslide than he did in 2016. There will be no way that this is ever attempted in this country or on the planet ever again, because the entire cabal will be arrested and tried for treason and tried for war crimes and executed, and their DNA purged from this planet forever. And whatever assets they have or have control over, the assets, the trillions of dollars that was stolen from us over the many years since 1913, since the Cabal instituted the Federal Reserve Bank and the World Bank, all of that money, all of that wealth will be returned to the people of the planet. If Ocasio-Cortez wants to implement her Green New Deal and rebuild every structure in the world to be energy compliant, you can do that with the money that you can take back from just one family alone, the Rothschilds, and then add the pursuers and the Soroses and the Rockefellers. They all got rich by stealing our money. And we want it back. And we're going to take it back. Because now the shackles of the mainstream media MK Ultra Operation Mockingbird bullshit have been untied. That's why when they realized why they lost the 2016 election was because of this medium right here, and because of voices like myself and thousands of others who are out there speaking the truth and exposing the lies and exposing the war crimes and all of the other dastardly shit that they do, eating babies and disgusting crap that they do. Because of us, they lost the 2016 election, and now they're bribing, they're blackmailing, they're intimidating, they're threatening the CEOs of these tech companies to do to us what they've done to the mainstream media. It's not going to work. Because it's going to come a time, there's going to come a place, there's going to come an event that will trigger Revolution 2.0. And by that time, these people better be in Gitmo, because they don't want to face the wrath of pissed off patriots, because we're not taking any prisoners. We're going to let God sort them out. And believe me, with all of their talk and their feigning to believe in a higher power, they don't believe in the same God we believe in. They believe in the other God, the God that's down below, the God that's scraping at the sides of the pit, desperately trying to escape. That's the God that they believe in. And you see it in their symbolism, you see it in their movies, you see it in their music videos. Hollywood is replete with Satanism and Satan worship. And what most people, even on social media, the truth social media, have mistakenly called pedophilia. But this is a misnomer. It is a misconception. It is a minimization of what this really is. This is not pedophilia. There is a sexual component to their madness, but it is not primarily motivated by the quote-unquote love, unquote, of children. This is something else entirely. This is something that is inconceivable, and that is why people blow it off. It started with the Fells Acre case. It started with a lot of things that have been covered up by the FBI. And why is the FBI, the world's premier law enforcement agency, blowing this off when there is so much evidence to prove that it actually exists. And you call it what you will. You call it what you will. But this is not some Playboy cartoon, Chester the Molester, going out and playing grab ass with little boys and little girls. This is something else entirely. This is something else entirely. This is mass murder as a sacrifice to Satan, to Beelzebub, to whatever you want to call these demons, Baphomet. That's exactly what it is. And our collective failure to believe it and act upon it means that every day that goes by, another, who knows how many innocent lives are lost to this thing, to this disgusting, satanic, demonic, right out of the pit of hell. And even though I know it, I still can't wrap my head around it. I believe because I have the evidence to support that belief. You see, my faith in God doesn't come from blind belief. I don't have any faith at all. I have proof. I have evidence that goes beyond my feelings and beyond my personal preferences. And they're teaching children in school that there is no God. Everything happened by accident. And they stripped away the thing that holds society together. They destroy families. There was a time in this country where two people didn't have to go out and work for a living just to make ends meet. They've stolen the value of our currency. They destroyed our family. They made our food supply into a source of cumulative neurotoxins. Diet this and diet that. Aspartame is a cumulative neurotoxin. They've filled the water supply with chemicals that you would be arrested for if you dumped them in a stream. I'm talking about fluoride. They've contaminated vaccines that cause autism. They have done everything humanly conceivable to kill off people on this planet. They went over and stirred the turd over in numerous foreign countries because they're meddling in all of these countries' governments. And they're worried about Russia. Why do you think Russia, if they were so inclined, wanted to meddle with our elections? If Russia wanted to meddle with our elections, they would have wanted Hillary to win and not Donald Trump. Because, after all, Hillary is the one that sold them 20% of our uranium. So why would the Russians want Trump to win? It doesn't make sense. Because Vladimir Putin, although he might be an enemy of the United States, knows that this position is untenable. It is more profitable and more advantageous for Russia and the United States to get along than to be enemies. Because war does nothing but fill the coffers of the deep state and the cabal that is behind them. It doesn't benefit the Russians. It doesn't benefit the Americans to be at each other's throats. It would benefit all of mankind if we could just get together, forget about our differences, and work together for the common good. But that's not what the Cabal wants. The Cabal wants 500 million people on the planet and the rest of us gone. And those 500 million to be slaves for them. To be the source of their adrenochrome. For their Kabbalistic inbreeding of children who have no birth certificate and are never missed. To be sacrificed to Baphomet in their satanic rituals, which we know happen. And we know it happens because a good friend of mine, whom I've known for many years, works for Special Victims in New York City. And he told me that he saw that Hillary Huma tape and he couldn't watch it all. So why would he tell me that? Why would a letter, an anonymous letter, on November 15th, 2016, show up in my mailbox saying that there's a recording of Loretta Lynch and Bill Clinton in Phoenix on the tarmac? If it wasn't somebody who knew me and knew what a pit bull truth seeker I am, that I would not let this go. And I am in search of that tape. There are people who have it. I want it. So if you have it, contact me. I want to hear it. And I tell you what, if I got my hands on that tape and I verified that it was the real thing and not some shit that somebody made up, I would broadcast it over ham radio. I would broadcast it on our upcoming radio station with 3 million listeners. I would broadcast it on an interview that I'm going to do tentatively Wednesday, not this Wednesday, but next Wednesday on an East Coast Connecticut radio station. And I would make sure that it got out there before they even knew what the hell had hit them. I would drop the bomb on these people. I am fed up with the lies. I'm fed up looking at the mainstream media disrespecting and hating my president, the best president this country has had, bar none. Bar none. I'm sick and I'm tired of the bullshit, and I'm sick of being lied to, and I am livid at the fact that these people have lied to us for over 55 years. It is time to put an end to it by any means necessary, and I mean any means necessary. Because when the First Amendment goes away, the second one takes its place. And I don't care what army you have. I don't care what god you demon you send. You will not disarm the American people. You'll get our guns, bullets first. This is not New Zealand. And no matter what you do to social media, you can censor, you can do it the hell ever you want. And like CNN, your actions will lead to your demise, both as a company and as an individual. I have no stake in this other than to tell the truth. Nobody's paying me, nobody's threatening me, nobody's intimidating me, and you can believe what you want to believe about me. But the message is the truth. You can go to all these fake web pages that Hillary set up because I blew up the spot on the bitch. And you can believe whatever you want to believe. You can go to the troll sites and do whatever you want. Do whatever you want. I could give a rat's ass. Do you think for a minute that you're going to scare me, a Vietnam veteran who's been through hell and back, with some bullshit, flapping your jaw bullshit? I'm telling you that you've got to be out of your freaking mind. You got to be out of your rabbit-ass mind to think that you're going to intimidate me. Because I put my life on the line for this country, and I would do it again and again. And anybody who has any brains at all would not leave this country to his progeny and to the next generation in the shape that Obama left it. Not on my watch. This will not happen on my watch. When I go to meet my Lord and Savior, I want to be able to stand there and say, Lord, I did everything humanly possible to destroy the destroyers of your great creation, to protect the innocent, and to avenge those who have been murdered as a sacrifice to Baphomet and his demons. Make no mistake. You want to stop me? Come and kill me. But bring body bags, because you're going to need them. This is Dave from Net4 Truth USA Whirlwind Revolt, saying thank you for listening, and if you can, support this channel. The links are down in the description. Thank you for watching.
Please subscribe to our backup channels, Whirlwind Revolt, Inglorious Patriots, and Net4 Truth USA 2 Patriot channel. You can also find us at Net4 Truth USA on BitChute. We fly so close to the target, we're on our 4th fighter jet. We will be relentless truth seekers until the enemies of freedom are defeated. You can support this channel by using the links in the description, but for a $100 donation, I will personally send you a autographed hardcover special edition copy of Land of Childhood's Fears. Also, visit my bookstore at lulu.com/net4truth USA. If you are viewing this video on BitChute, you can use the links in the description to support us, or simply click the green $ dot on our video to support this channel. Thank you. Links are in the description section.